The offseason is one of the opportune times to make a lot of money with sports card investing, and in today's video I want to count down 5 NFL players I'm investing in this offseason. Let's go through the list and see if you want to join in. This all started with one of my favorite articles from CardLines.com that was written 2.5 years ago. It is Make Money in Off-Season Investing, and basically what I did there was just look through the different sports and a buying cycle, and you can see just how cyclical investing is. I've said before, it's like, imagine if you just knew in April Facebook stock was going to be worth 30% more than it is in October. That's kind of how sports card investing works, and if you're buying cards of the best players that are pretty much like blue chip investments, you can count on a seasonal boost. So again, the numbers aren't necessarily accurate because this article is 2.5 years old, but the percentage and the swings are definitely still going to be about the same. So for example, this 2011 Mike Trout Topps Update rookie sold for $3,300 during the season, and it got down to $2,850. During spring training, when there was a lot of hype, it flew up to $4,700, and around opening day it was at $4,900. During the preseason, there's a lot of speculative investments. So last year, for example, going into the NFL season, there's people thinking, oh, Trevor Lawrence is going to be the MVP. And obviously, he was fine. He had a good year, but he didn't have an amazing year. So sometimes preseason hype exceeds expectations, or there's players that are identified as like a sleeper that's going to break out, and they don't even see the field that much. So preseason hype affects everybody. Once the season starts, some people are playing better than others. Example, for the NFL season last year, Jordan Love had a late season push, and his really shot up at the end of the year when he started looking like a top 10 quarterback. Play on the field actually matters once the season starts and value starts swinging. Preseason applies to everybody. People sit around and think about who's going to be good for 3 months, and they talk themselves into anything. So with that said, let's talk ourselves into anything. So to look at the 5 players that I'm going to be buying this offseason, we're going to use Card Ladder. It is the best, in my opinion, tracker of sports card index over time. It shows what recent sales are for particular cards, for players, for sports. A lot of cool stuff if you're interested in signing up. You can sign up for just $15 a month. Thanks to your friends at CardLines, we have an affiliate code linked in the description of this video. Click on that. The first card on my list is the Patrick Mahomes PSA 10 Silver Prism Rookie. I have a couple of these and I did not pay as much as they're selling for now, but I do think it could be a good opportunity to buy one more when the value goes down during the offseason. You can see just looking at this sales chart over the last year, it wasn't an amazing year for Mahomes, and the product on field didn't look great until the playoffs got here. Remember when they had lost 4 or 5 games and were looking like a very beatable team? That's when the card values began to fall, and then obviously playoffs hit, he won the Super Bowl, his card values soared again. I'm not necessarily saying go and buy the first Patrick Mahomes rookie PSA 10 that you see, but I'd say find some auctions, and if you can get any of them around the $3,500 to $3,600 mark, these cards are safely going over $4,500. They could even touch $5,000 if he continues being just as dominant and making the GOAT case that he's making for himself right now. Next up is Kyler Murray. Murray came back at the end of the year last year, and while the Cardinals weren't a very competitive team, Murray actually looked pretty good. He's struggled with, I think, self-discipline, it seems like, just from reports of Cardinals camp and some of the stuff that's gone on there. But he's a very talented quarterback. I think they're going to have some good pieces around him. I don't know if he ends up with a Marvin Harrison Jr. or some other weapon this offseason, but if he has a good wide receiver, the Cardinals are not a terrible team. They were awful last year, and I think his card value really reflects that. You can see this PSA 10 Silver Prism Rookie it's sold for $1,000 plus, and right now, if you can get one at $250, there is plenty high ceiling for this card to rise. Buy these at $250 to $300. Next up is Justin Fields, who's been making a lot of press for being not the guy in Chicago. He's shown a lot this offseason. His cards are already selling for more than Kyler Murray, so I'm not going all in on him. I don't know that he is an amazing quarterback, but I think he is a viable quarterback that a good team can win with. And with that said, he's going to end up in a new home. I don't know if he'll be in Atlanta or the Pittsburgh Steelers or wherever he ends up going, but I do think his cards have pretty good potential to grow. They're basically at an all-time low right now. You can see over the past 4-ish months, they've kind of bottomed out. He came back after an injury and looked pretty darn good, so they're selling for $500 to $600, and now we're looking at them selling for between $250 to $300. I'd comfortably buy them there. If he goes to Atlanta, he's going to have way more talent around him than he's ever had. Same thing with Pittsburgh. Both those teams have great receiving cores and pretty good backfield, so it'll be a good fit for a quarterback who needs some help. Fields is super talented, and I want to see him win, and I'd love to see his card values climb accordingly. Next up's Anthony Richardson. He doesn't have a great index right now because these Prism cards just came out. The best card you could probably get is either a silver or a numbered Prism card of him. And this just kind of goes back to one of my long-standing sports card investing tips. When somebody's injured and not making headlines, the value of their cards drop. For example, I did a very similar thing when Chet missed his entire rookie season with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I bought a lot of his cards when he was not on the court playing, and the same thing with Anthony Richardson. If he's not on the field, his cards aren't going to be selling for what they could be. Now that Chet's back and he looks fantastic, his cards have doubled in value. Anthony Richardson could do the same thing next year. Finally, the last player I'm targeting, Saquon Barkley. He is a running back, so his cards just don't sell for as much. But we see just what McCaffrey has done for the 49ers, and I think Saquon, if he stays healthy and gets traded to a contender, if he goes to a team like that where he's not like having Tommy DeVito as his starting quarterback, then he could really impact an offense and have his best season ever too. In general, his cards haven't sold for a whole lot over the last 2 years. It looks like if you could buy at about $30 to $35, it would be a pretty good deal, because I do think they have potential to hit 50, 60, maybe even 75 if he is on a good team and a reason that they're competitive. The best card you could look for the set is the Silver Prism rookie of him. In 2018, Prism had only one silver per hobby box, so they are super duper rare, and if you can get a Saquon Barkley of that card, it could be worth a whole lot just because it has such a low population. Thanks for watching this video. Be sure to watch another. Thanks.